So I just wanted to share another Neville Goddard quote with you today, and this one was, "Stop trying to change the world, since it is only the mirror. Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself." So this is one of my favourite quotes from Neville, and this is a long time favourite because it gives a unique physical example of how the law itself actually works. This is the genius of this one. I'm going to be reading from some notes today because I've got a lot to fit in here and I didn't want to miss anything out. So anyway, let us get back to the beginning of the quote itself. So the first sentence of the quote was, "Stop trying to change the world, it is only your mirror." Neville is saying here that you need to change yourself and not the world. The focus should always be on changing yourself, not external circumstances. The world as you perceive it is a projection of your internal belief systems externalized. The world is just a mirror, in effect, of what you believe it to be. Another key point to add into this is the idea of separation. And of course, many of us make this really deep mistake of seeming to assume that the world is outside of ourselves or separate from us. But in actual fact, the world is not actually separate from us, and we are not separate from it. And as Neville often said, the world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, in effect, the world is an extension of yourself. This is a really, really key point for us to always remember. He then goes on later in this quote to say, "Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face." Now, what does he mean by this? This is a great true-to-life physical example here, isn't it? If we look at our own physical reflection in a physical mirror, if we wish to change what we are seeing as our reflection, do we break the mirror to change the reflection? Absolutely not. We don't, do we? That would be a very ignorant thing to do. We understand that if we wish to see a different reflection in the physical mirror, we need to change our physical appearance. So, for example, if you didn't like the way your hair looked, you would change your hair so it would appear the way you wanted it to in the physical reflection in the mirror. If you didn't like the clothes you were wearing, you would change the clothes you were wearing, and that would reflect itself back to you in the physical mirror. How does this example, this real life example, translate to the law itself and how consciousness creates reality? Well, it translates in this way. If you don't like the external circumstances you are witnessing, then it is your task not to respond with force to the world when you see circumstances you don't like, but to understand that you don't need to break the mirror because the external reality is the mirror. That's the reflection. You don't need to go and force things to happen. You don't need to grab hold of the external reflection and try and control it and force the world and people in the world to conform to your will in a violent manner. This is, in effect, us trying to break the mirror itself. Instead, we learn from Neville's teachings that there is a better way, a better road to take, a much more direct route to get to our destination. And he explains this later on in this same quote. He says, "Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself." So he's making it very clear again. So he doesn't want us to use force to break the mirror, to break the world, to break the reflection. We instead leave the reflection alone. We take a step back from it and now we take this wiser route. And this wiser route is the pathway of understanding and wisdom. And that pathway of understanding and wisdom is the one we take when we start to change our internal belief systems, and the one we take when we start to change how we feel about the world in which we inhabit. We also start to change what we accept as true about the world. And we understand by doing these things, we understand by changing our conceptions of reality, by changing our beliefs about reality, by changing the internal beliefs we hold about ourselves, we therefore start to change that outer reflection, the mirror, the world. The mirror begins to transform itself, showing us our newly transformed belief systems. We start to see a new image that we wish to see, that we wish to encounter. We start to experience and live a life that we wish to live. Our dreams become realised, our desires become fulfilled. And to summarise here again, just to add this reminder here, so this is as basic as it can get. The world is your mirror. Change yourself, not the reflection. And this very much ties in with other teachings, such as within, so without, as above, so below. When you look at the world, you are witnessing your own internal belief systems being reflected back to you. And if you can hold on to this thought, you can quickly start to change your reality, because you understand that whatever you're seeing can be shifted via the simple act of changing your internal belief systems. Anyway, I hope that was inspiring to you today. Thanks very much. Bye for now.